Light up my nose and show it to me.
Why are there two of us? Something's wrong. Yeah, but there's two of Sue and Jim and no Randy. Do we need to fix that? Is that what everybody sees? You don't need two of me, that's for sure.
We could.
Well, little did we know that when Ray decided to read and teach us Torah again for his 90th birthday, how much we would need this Shabbat. So many of us have been looking forward to this Shabbat because there are so many things that we can't control right now. There are so many things that we are mourning and confused by. But today, on this Shabbat, we can be sure that our spirits will be lifted and that Ray is giving us an opportunity to really celebrate. We always say we will be there for each other in times of sorrow, but the real wisdom is to show up in times of simcha. So Ray, thank you for this amazing simcha to celebrate your 90th birthday by being able to call you to the Torah once again and learn from you the Torah of Ray, which of course this week brings us Korach. Korach, who teaches us what are the controversies for the sake of heaven and what are the ones that are not so much for the sake of heaven. So let's begin our Shabbat morning service by singing the words of Matovu, the prophet Bilam, who taught us that it is what we do. Maybe they were sheltering in place. I don't know. Maybe they were home. But we know for some reason people were in their tents. And Bilam, who was hired by the king Balak to give us a curse, somehow looked into our tents when nobody else was watching. And he saw something that inspired him to give us a blessing instead of a curse. So please join with us. This prayer, the blessing of Matovu.
מה טובו עליך יעקב, משכנותיך ישראל. Ba 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 la 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 di di da 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 la 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 ba 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 da 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 da. Inematu manai Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu manai Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu manai Sheverachim gam. Inematu manai Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu manai Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu la 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 la. Inematu la 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 la. Inematu manai Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu manai Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu manai inematu manai inematu manai Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu manai inematu manai inematu manai Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu manai Sheverachim gam yachad. Inematu manai Sheverachim gam yachad. Gam yachad. Gam yachad.
Shabbat gives us this opportunity to have a taste of the world to come, to count our blessings even in the midst of troubled times, and to praise that which is praiseworthy. So we invite you to think about what you might praise right now. Certainly we are all grateful to Ray, bringing us together to praise good health, to praise what it means to have lived 90 years, to have lived through the changes that you have seen in your life, and yet to think about what are the constants, what are the things that have not changed. While the outer things have changed so much, the technology, what are the things that really have not changed, things we can count on? And so we invite everyone to, what do we do? Okay. Praise God with this psalm. Hallelujah. Sing.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Ooh, hallelujah. Hallelujah, el bekocho, hallelujah, birkia uzo, hallelujah, hallelujah, burata, hallelujah, kerobulo, hallelujah, 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 for the blast of the horn, for the oud and the harp, oh, for the dancing and the drums, hallelujah, with the lute and the pipe, oh, with cymbals crashing, hallelujah, with silsile through Kol Shama Taleria. Let everything that breathes thank and praise God. Kol Shama Taleria. Hallelujah. 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 Kol Neshama Hallelujah. Let everything that breathes thank and praise God. Let everything that breathes thank and praise God. If our lips open like the sea and our eyes flash with the light of the sun and the moon, and our arms stretched forth like the eagles of heaven. Kol Shabbat Hallelujah. Let everything that breathes thank and praise God. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamavorach. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Leolam Ba'ed. Mevorach Leolam Haba.
For the morning light, we give thanks for the new moon of this month of Tammuz. We give thanks as it grows in the sky and challenges us with her dark side, delivering us soon to the month of Av, the saddest month, but knowing that after that will come Elul. Yotzer Or says, look for the light wherever you can find it, and then you will feel the love. So, part of the Ahava Rabbah prayer.
Harerinenu b'toratecha v'dabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha v'yachel levaveinu ahava u'yira et shemecha v'lo nevos v'lo nikalem v'lo nichasher Leolam Ba'ed. Harerinenu b'toratecha v'dabek libeinu b'mitzvotecha v'yachel levaveinu v'ahava u'yira et shemecha. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai.
Loving back, we chant Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavecha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol me'otecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam Veshivtecha beveitecha uvlektecha b'derech u'shoftecha v'kumecha u'kshartam le'od al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtaptam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'hisharecha leman tizkaru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher Otzeiti Echem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot Lachem Lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. And in every service we do sing the same words that Moses and Miriam and all of the people of Israel sang at the shores of the sea. That was, right, Ray? That was a machlochet l'shem shamayim. It was a controversy for the sake of heaven, leaving that narrow place behind. And it taught us. It taught us how to discern, how to know that our journey and our protest was for the sake of heaven and would take us to a better place.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש נוכחתי לו, אוסף אלה שירה חדשה שיבחו גילים לשמחה שפת הים, יחד יחד כולם עובדו והמליכו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. לעולם ועד. אוהל צור ישראל, קומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדחי נומך יהודה וישראל, גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. With Miriam, הנביאה, the prophetess. She took a drum in her hand and we followed her with drums and dancing, and Miriam chanted with us. Shiru le'Adonai ki ga'o ga'a. 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 Sus verochvo rama vayam. Sus verochvo rama vayam. Shiru le'Adonai ki ga'o ga'a. Shiru le'Adonai ki ga'o ga'a. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid ilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid ilatecha. Oh God, open my lips that my mouth might declare your praise. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Rivka Elohei Leah Elohei Rachel.
Sarah, we forgot Sarah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora.
El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'Konei Hakol Zocher Chazdei Avot V'Imaot U'Mevii Geula Libnei Bneihem Leman Shemo B'Yahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magin Baruch atah Adonai Magin Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני
בחיי הכל אתה רב והושיע מחלקי חיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך מימי ומחיי ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני
מחיי מחיי המתים, giving us hope, filling the spaces between us with Kedusha.
מקדיש את שמך בעולם Kishem shemati shimoto bishme marom kakatu vayad neviecha bekara ze v'yamar kadosh 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 Adonai Tzevaot Melo Kol Haaretz Kevodo Adir Adirenu Adonai Adonenu Madir Shimcha Bechol Haaretz Baruch Kevod Adonai Mikomo Echad hu Eloheinu Hu Avinu Malkeinu Hu Moshienu Ve'hu Yashvienu Berachamav Le'nei Kochai Ani Adonai Elohechem V'imloch Adonai le'olam Elohayich Tzion ledor vador Hallelujah ledor vador nagid golecha ולנצח נצחים קדושך נקדיש ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם הבא ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם בית בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש children of Israel should keep the Shabbos, observing it in every generation, a covenant for all time. It is a sign. It is a sign forever between me and the people of Israel for 6 days. The Eternal One made the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day, God rested. Vayinafash, God breathed the soul into creation. God breathed the soul into creation.
Prayer for peace. So many broken pieces out there, so many missing pieces. And we pray that everyone can feel a little bit of the joy that we are feeling, having something so wonderful to celebrate with Ray and our community. We hope that everyone is feeling that they are necessary, that they are an important part of the piece of the whole. And that somehow that will bring us a little closer to shalom, to that wholeness.
Sim shalom tova bracha chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim sim shalom tova bracha, goodness and blessing chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Aleinu ya kol amo Yisrael v'yal Yerushalayim. Sim shalom tova bracha, goodness and blessing, chen v'chesed, pure giving, kindness, v'rachamim. And mercy. Ooh, have mercy.
So we hope that these prayers have helped us all to settle in, to kind of let go of the distractions around us. There are so many. And to be radically present. I had the privilege of teaching on the last day of Machane Zoom, which was the camp that Daniel and Karen and Charlene Ill and so many put together for our children. For 3 weeks, they went to camp every morning. And I had the privilege of the last day teaching them a little bit about the toolbox that comes from Judaism. And so many of those tools actually are in the morning service. And I hope these tools have also helped us to kind of let go. One of those tools is the Shema that calls us to listen, to be radically present. Hineni, I asked them to say, are you present? And so now we take just a moment to breathe so that hopefully this part of the service has helped us focus, helped us be present so that we can learn from perhaps one of the gems, the greatest gems we have at CRC, our own Ray Slavin, who is turning 90 on Monday. I think every day counts, right? We count every day. And so on Monday, you will become 90. And the blessing of that is to turn to you now as you read and teach us Torah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amin V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Notein HaTorah. Vayaka Korach Ben Yitzhar Ben Kohot Ben Levi Uvatom Va'avirim B'nei Elohim Rachim Ben Peleh B'nei Ruvain V'kamu Lifnei Moshe V'anashim Mipnei Yisrael V'nisim U'matayim Nesiei Edav Kirei Moed Anshe Shom V'yikachalu El Moshe V'al Aharon V'yomer Aleichem Rab Lachem Ki Kol Ho'eda Kulam Kadoshim Uftochem Adonai U'medua Tisnasuhu Al Kahal Adonai V'yishma Moshe v'kipul al ponav. Vaydaber el Korah, v'el kol Adono, le'mor, o kiriado Adonai, et asher lo, ve'et hakadosh, v'gri elov, v'et, asher yivchar bo, yakriv elov. Zod asu, kakulo henmakto, kotarah, v'kol adoto, utnuvachem ha'esh, v'shimu, alechem ketoret, lifnei Adonai, machar, v'hoya, aish, asher yivchar Adonai, hu hakadosh, Rav lachem, b'nei Levi. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech olam, asher notan lanu Torah emet, v'chaye olam natan v'zochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah. Amen. I'd like to begin this commentary with a summary of the Torah portion I just chanted. The Jews have escaped from Egypt. They've passed through the Sea of Reeds, and now they're wandering through the desert. Times are tough. They're hungry, they're thirsty, and they aren't sure where they're going. Korah, a member of the tribe, is angry because Moses appoints his brother Aaron and his family to the priesthood, bypassing Korah, who thought he had a more legitimate right. Korah, along with his comrades Dathan, Abiram, and An, begin to sow discord among the Jews and stir up a rebellion against Moses' leadership. They accuse Moses of raising himself in holiness above the congregation and promising a land flowing with milk and honey, but instead exposing them to death in the wilderness. Moses hears their complaints and tries to reason with them, but to no avail, and Korah refuses to meet. Moses then tells them to bring offerings to the sanctuary on the next day, and God will demonstrate who was to be trusted as the leader of the community. God demonstrated this in a most dramatic fashion. Korah and his 3 henchmen, along with their family and possessions, are swallowed by the earth, and 250 followers are consumed by fire. Despite this dramatic demonstration of divine intervention, the children of Israel revert to their grumbling and accuse Moses and Aaron of bringing death upon the people. This annoys God, and he starts to destroy the entire nation with a plague that takes 14,700 lives. Moses placates God by instructing Aaron to place incense in the fire pan, and this saves most of the people from further harm. After the plague ceased, believe it or not, the Israelites are still complaining. So God tells Moses to have each chief, 12 in all, inscribe their name on a staff and to deposit them in the tent of meeting. God says that the staff of the candidate that I choose to do priestly duties will sprout, and this will rid myself of the incessant mutterings of the Israelites against you. The next morning, sure enough, Aaron's staff has sprouted blossoms and almonds, and this ends the rebellion. As an aside, it's fascinating that it wasn't force, namely the swallowing of Korah by the earth, that ended the conflict, but rather the dead wood of the staff that comes to life. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, the former chief rabbi of the British Commonwealth, comments that the Korah rebellion was the single most dangerous challenge to Moses' leadership during the 40 years that he led his people through the wilderness. Korah poses as an egalitarian when he says to Moses, all of the community is holy. Why do you raise yourself above the Lord's congregation? Korah says everyone should be a leader. What he really means is, I should be your leader. Another indication of Korah's nature is in the first 2 words of this portion, Vayikach Korach, which translates as Korah took. He was a taker. Daniel Quinn, in his book Ishmael, divides the world into takers and leavers. Takers base their power in the fundamental misconception that they are separate from the world and that the world was created for them. Takers exert their power by consuming the world. They exhibit frustrated ambition and petty jealousy. Korach certainly had charisma. He swayed hundreds of Israelites to his side. I can't help wondering what would have happened if Korach had channeled his righteous indignation and personality for the service of his people, offering Moses his help instead of trying to assert his own leadership. Rabbi Pinchas Pelly, an Israeli Torah commentator, made the observation that Korach's spiritual downfall calls attention to the difference between authentic, responsible leadership and illusory, appealing rhetoric. I continue to be amazed week after week at how each portion of the Torah relates to our present time. Lessons of Torah really do translate into modern day life. As you recall, I said earlier that Korach attacks Moses and Aaron by saying, "All people are holy. Why do you raise yourself above the eternal congregation?" This exemplifies the confusion between individual freedom and the limits to individual freedom that living in society imposes. It means sacrificing personal liberties, comfort, pleasure, and possessions for the well-being of others. Many have commented about this topic, including Shakespeare, who in several sonnets and in Romeo and Juliet wrote about the struggle between what collective society is willing to accept and an individual's desires. So here we are with COVID-19, testing our limits as human beings and as a society. There are times when the government must curtail our individual freedoms to protect the public. We've certainly seen instances of rebellion. A gym in St. Louis County defied the shutdown order and wound up in court. An editorial in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch last month speaks to this and commented that federal courts in the past have upheld the government's right in emergency situations to impose restriction in the name of public health and safety. That's why curfews can be imposed after natural disasters, for example. Most of the time, these instances last just long enough for the authorities to restore order. But this isn't so with the present pandemic. We've never encountered anything that has persisted for so long, and it tries everyone's patience and poses severe economic hardship. But acts of civil disobedience accomplish nothing more than to increase the public danger. Ronnie White, the federal judge assigned to the St. Louis County gym case, ruled against granting a stay of emergency order, which therefore prevented the St. Louis County gym from opening. Judge White ruled that regardless of the plaintiff's contention that their constitutional rights were being violated, quote, stay-at-home rules have a real and substantial relation to the goal of stemming the tide of the public health pandemic, end of quote. In a May 22nd editorial in the New York Times, David Brooks offered this perspective, quote, aside from a few protesters and a depraved president, most of us have understood we need to suspend the old individualistic American creed in the midst of a complex epidemiological disaster. To be anti-authority is to be ignorant. In the midst of a contagion, to act as if you are self-sufficient is just selfish, end of quote. So now back to Korach. His rebellion brings about tension as to who will decide what is right for the community and who will define the law and practice of society. Will the community be ruled by the loudest voice or by the laws of Torah? God dramatically decides in this portion that it is not the self-serving, rabble-rousing Korach and his followers, but rather Moses and Aaron, the designated interpreters of Torah. In putting my final thoughts into interpreting this portion, I was struck by the words again of David Brooks in his most recent book, The Second Mountain. He writes that he quotes a lot of people wiser than he, and he is not apologetic. He says that he's not really a writer, but rather a teacher, a middleman, taking the curriculum of other people's knowledge and passing it on. So too have I done throughout this commentary, as I have shamelessly quoted from a number of sources. I want to offer one final quote from the writings of one of the most quotable people I know, Rabbi Susan Talvey. In a recent CRC memo, Rabbi Talvey wrote, quote, "The common good of the many can't be sacrificed for the interest of a few. We must learn to sacrifice our self-interest for the common good." End of quote. So now, let me end with some deeply personal comments. As you've heard, June 27th, today is 2 days from my 90th birthday. And the recurrent question comes to my mind, how in the world did I make it to this point today? I would say it's a combination of genetics, a pretty good lifestyle, and an abundance of mazel, or good luck. I've been blessed with good health, a loving family, a satisfying career, and a large number of supporting friends, including my Sunday morning bike group and my New Yorker class. I was fortunate to have had 55 years of marriage to a remarkable wife and the last 12 years to a truly wonderful companion. It's been said that every man should try and find a woman smarter than he. And with respect to the two women I've cited, I have succeeded in this respect tremendously. I would like to emphasize my relationship with Central Reformed Congregation. CRC filled a tremendous void in my life after Alberta passed away 12 years ago. The comfort, the pleasure, the friendships, and the music, and the intellectual and religious stimulation I received here are immeasurable and have continued to the present. This is the congregation that encouraged my second bar mitzvah in 2013 and enabled me to read from Torah in 2018 and today. I've learned so much about CRC and my religion from being on the temple board and serving on a number of committees. I'm indebted to Rabbis Talvey, Goodman, Fleischer, Karen and Daniel Bogard, and Ed Harris for their teachings and support. So my closing prayer is that God continues to shed light and blessings on this congregation, its rabbis, the staff, and its members. COVID-19, the recent wave of protests, and the increasing recognition of racism have impacted so intensely on our society. And I pray that Tikkun Olam, repairing and restoring the world, continues to be the watchword for our congregation. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Ray, what can I say but kol hakavod? So much honor and respect and love for you and your wisdom and your teaching and your participation. Ray, you did something in the spirit of this portion, which was you were so ready to jump in and chant from Torah that I was about to call you to the Torah. But in the spirit of the portion, you said, well, why should you raise yourself above anybody else? And you just took it on yourself. But I wanted to take the opportunity not to call you to the Torah again, because you did a masterful job of chanting and of teaching, but of saying your Hebrew name out loud, because that's part of calling someone to the Torah. And I really don't believe that what you did was a rebellion, because although you're an activist, Ray, and a change maker, and someone who I'm glad and so proud that you love CRC, but CRC loves you, and you throughout your time here, but especially when we've been consulting you about how to navigate through this crisis. But it's not about rebellion for you. It's about creating change. And that's why your Hebrew name leaps out at me. And I wanted to be able to say it out loud. Your Hebrew name, Ray, is Rachmiel. And Rachmiel comes from that Hebrew word Rachamim. And Rachamim means compassion. And that is overwhelming. What I feel from you, Ray, is this deep compassion, this well of wisdom and understanding and graciousness and expansiveness and experience and love that you have for anyone that comes into your midst. In Yiddish, it's Rachmanis, Rachmiel. And there's no higher honor than when somebody displays Rachmanis, Rachamim. So you live up to that name. And I know that you had to work hard once again to chant the Torah as you did so beautifully, and think hard as you did to deliver a message that was timely and important and interesting, and even quoted from one of my favorite books, Ishmael. I love that book, The Takers and the Leavers. So you said that you had your second bar mitzvah when you turned 83. And you've been, periodically gracing us with Torah and with Divrei Torah, with teachings. But I know that your goal, one of your goals in this, is to have a third bar mitzvah. Isn't that right, Ray?
Correct.
Bar mitzvah number 3, which would occur when you turn 96, halavai, because that will be the second bar mitzvah was 13 plus 70, right? And then we'll have another 13 from 83 to 96. And I hope that there's lots of Torah and lots of teachings between now and your third bar mitzvah. But I look forward to celebrating with you once again on that amazing occasion that will be that next bar mitzvah. We are truly fortunate, bar mitzvah upon bar mitzvah upon bar mitzvah, for you to be part of CRC, but more importantly, part of the universe. We're a better world because of you, Ray Slavin, Dr. Ray. And so I know that all the rabbis want to have a chance to say some words to you. And so I'm going to have Rabbi Susan and Rabbi Jim come back, and then Rabbi Dan and Rabbi Karen, and they will then conclude the service. But Yasher Koach, Kol HaKavod. I wish I could jump through this screen and give you a hug, but virtual, all kinds of virtual honor and love from me to you, Ray Slavin. Mazel tov.
So let's see, I have an interesting blessing here. Maybe I'll pull it up, see if I can get it. Whoops. No. Host disabled. Okay, never mind. I'll just have to read it. So, Ray, where are you? Let's see here. Oh, there you are. Okay. Can you hear me, Ray?
Yes. Loud and clear.
Vaikach Korach. That's good. That was a great.
Beautiful.
I love Pinchas Peli too. He's one of my favorites, Torah commentators. So Ray, I wrote here for you. This is called The Kabbalah of Age for Ray Slavin, and the title of it is All Your Life Hunting. Every Hebrew letter has a meaning and a number. 90 is tzadi. A tzadi, the letter, is also means to hunt. And tzadik, tzadik is also to be righteous. So this is for the tzadiks. When you reach 90, you come to tzadi, often called tzadik, the righteous one. The tzaddik is the foundation of the world. In form, the tzadi most resembles the aleph, the first letter, the unity in silence. What constitutes tzaddik? It's a lofty term, righteous. We do not apply it to everyone. Even at 90, tzaddik is rare. There is a clue to the tzaddik in the meaning of tzadi, to hunt. To be tzaddik is to hunt for the fallen in order to redeem and elevate. That is the mystery of tzaddik. Who gets to be one? In every generation on that, there is always disagreement. There is also an inner tzaddik, the conduit within, an integration of the inner godliness and human beingliness. We all have something of that quality. Now, the question that we put to our life is, where is my inner tzaddik? I am searching for that tzaddik always, at 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and if blessed with the strength at 80 and at 90. We give thanks for having the time for the search. Blessed is a lifetime of pursuit. The inner tzaddik, the integrator, the hunter in us. Amen.
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 Amen. Amen. Amen. I love the connection with Ray and 90 and the tzaddik, for you are truly a tzaddik for us. And just briefly, first of all, thank you for the beautiful chanting and for that wonderful devar, just the teaching we needed today. You taught us that it says Vayikach Korach, and that was a hint that Korach was a taker. And that's not what we need now. What we need are people like you, Ray, the givers of advice, the givers of resources, the givers of so much of yourself. Just made such a difference in this community. Another interpretation I read about Vayikach is that it's close to a word that also means to separate. So that was another clue that Korach was not the right guy, because he was like Pharaoh, like Paro, he was a separator. And if anything, Ray, you've taught us that the most important thing is to bring people together, to not divide, to not separate us, but to bring us together. And that is, I think, the wisdom of seeing so much of history unfold, to know that the people that help us the most are certainly the givers, and also not the dividers, but the people who find ways to bring us together. And finally, I think I told you this when I heard that you had Korach. One of my very favorite midrash on this portion comes from another person who was ready to follow Korach. His name was On, and he's only mentioned once in the Torah. And we hear about him as one of the leaders, one of the chiefs that's about to go with Korach for the rebellion. But then we don't hear about him again. And so the Midrash fills in. And I only mention this because you mentioned those two amazing, wonderful, inspirational women in your life. And so the Midrash says that it's On's wife that says to him, sweetheart, stay home. This rebellion is not going to change anything. This Korach, he may be saying the right thing, but he only wants more of the power. He's not about systemic change. He's not going to change things the way they are, so stay home. But the Midrash is kind of interesting. That would be enough because he listens to her. But she's so afraid that he's not going to listen. In the Midrash, she actually gets him drunk and takes him to bed and then sits in front of the tent with her hair disheveled because nobody would mess with a woman whose hair is disheveled. That's the Midrash. I didn't make that up. So I just think that you have brought so many pieces
That's good.
of this story to light for us today, and so many that will help. They really will guide us as we, each of us, have to go forward. Ray, you've been such, as always, such an incredible teacher for us to be givers, to not divide, but to bring people together, and to know when it is a controversy for the sake of heaven and when it's just a lot of noise for people who want more power. And those are the times we got to stay home. So Ray, once again, we cannot thank you enough for being part of this community, for blessing us, for you are truly a tzaddik, a righteous man. And I shout out to the family that I know is probably watching all over the country for you. The people of Ray, how proud you must be. And we claim you too. Your CRC community, Ray, we claim you too. We are the people of Rachamim. We are the Rachmiel. We are the people of Ray, Dr. Ray Slavin, the tzaddik.
Amen.
Amen.
Ray. Oh, did I freeze? Can everybody hear me? Okay. So I'm going to speak kind of on behalf of myself and Daniel because he's doing the behind the scenes work. You spoke so beautifully this morning from Parsha Korach, and I think at its essence, Korach is really about how to be a leader and how not to be a leader. And, you know, over my 2 years at CRC, Ray, you have shown us how to be an amazing leader. You are on the board. You have led really intimate and intense discussions in some groups. You have this inherent kindness about you, which I think really speaks to your leadership qualities. You show up and you are such a present part of our community, as Rabbi Susan said. And you share your knowledge with us on so many occasions, both formally and informally. And we have learned so much from you on how we should walk through this world. So my blessing for you is that I hope we all have another 90 years of your inspiration and your wisdom and your friendship and your love. So thank you again for a beautiful service.
And Ray, I don't think you can see me right now, but I can see you, and have been here this whole time. You're amazing, right? What everyone has said, you are incredible. But you know, the concept that comes to mind when I think of you is Talmid Chacham. It's this sort of, I apologize if you hear it. Also, my neighbors are mowing their lawn, and I'm out on the porch. But there's this idea of the Talmid Chacham, of the wise student, right? And only in the Jewish world would someone with the title of student be amongst the most revered categories that we have. And so you go back to the Middle Ages, and Talmid Chacham is a real category. It's the wise person who never stops learning. And it's the person that you go to in times of difficulty and in times of trial and in times of goodness to ask their advice, because they know Torah, but also because they know the world. And Ray, you literally are this for CRC, right? You are this for our coronavirus task force. You are this for keeping us on the straight and narrow of being the community and the people that we should be. And so, you know, I guess my wish for all of us is that we can all take just a little bit of you as a Talmid Chacham and your example of being someone who learns and never stops growing. So thank you for being such a blessing to us, Ray. We love you, and really, it's amazing what you have done today. And I am going to turn off my microphone so you don't hear more of the neighbors, and turn this over to Rabbi Karen.
with those words of Torah ringing in our souls. Mi sheberach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mikor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Rofei HaCholim. May we learn to be angels and agents of healing for all who need it, and may there be healing for all who need it. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. So we move into our concluding blessings with Aleinu. It means it's upon us to create the world that we want to live in and we want to be a part of. I hope you will join with me in chanting the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'atei gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kiguye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu kol re'im, umishtachavim umodim. Lifnei melech machei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Shehu noteh shamayim veyosed haaretz umoshav yikaro bashamayim mima'al ushchinatu zo begovhei meromim hu Eloheinu einod emet malkeinu efes dulato Kakatu v'torato v'yadata hayom v'hashevota elevavecha ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim b'shamayim mima'al ve'al ha'aretz mitachat ein od v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai Lamelech al kol haaretz, vayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, ushemo echad. And at the very end of our service, we take a moment to remember those who are no longer with us. I shared this last night, and I'm going to share it once more. It's a Kaddish for Black lives. Creator of life, source of compassion, your breath remains the source of our spirit, even as too many of us cry out that we cannot breathe. Lovingly created in your image, the color of our bodies, the color of those that are part of our community has imperiled our lives. Black lives are commodified yet devalued, imitated but feared, exhibited but not seen. Black lives have been pursued by hatred, abandoned by indifference, and betrayed by complacency. Black lives have been lost to the violence of the vigilante, the cruelty of the marketplace, and the silence of the comfortable. We all understand that Black lives are sacred, inherently valuable, and irreplaceable. We all know that to oppress the body of the human is to break the heart of the divine. We all yearn for the day when the bent will stand straight. We all pray that the hearts of our country will soften to the pain endured for centuries. We will do the work to bind up the wounds, to heal the shattered hearts, to break the yoke of oppression. As the beauty of the heavens is revealed to us each day, may each day reveal to us the beauty of our common humanity. And we say, Amen. And so to our CRC remembrance list, we also had George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. So this, I'm gonna start with, I lost my list. It's gonna start with names of people who have passed away in the past couple of months, whether they are CRC members or they are connected to the CRC community. Maureen Mo Billy, Albert Tota, Ruth Friedman, Monica Allendorf, Dolores Pattis Moonshine, Silverberg, John Kepler, Alan Woolman, Bonnie Hunman, Tom Gilbert, Alan Goldman, Fred P. Handler, Betty Gershman, Sandra Stone Feinstein, Don Holtzman, Jacqueline Pultman, Lou Osheroff, Alea Light, Bonnie Levins, Claire Krall, Harvey M. Weiss, Shirley Sewell, Lily Aviva Atkinson, Lillian Eichen, Gil Nussbaum, Libby Greenbaum, Clarence Shelley, Molly Frolickstein, Ann Barbara Schifrin, Fran Hyman, Marvin A. Koski, Jan Nelson, Charlotte Futterman, Kent Huffman, and Norman Roth. And to those names, we add a few yard sites. We add Mahala Cox of this week, Rosalind Stein, George Lamb, Fanny Spiegel, Samuel Goldberg, Lori Kaplan, and I can't see Sol Schwartz. I can't see if anybody's listed names in the chat. Go for it, Randy.
Just want to mention the name of Sidney Feiner, who is Stacy Zeid's father, who just passed away in the last 2 days.
Thank you. And we also remember Danny, who was a friend of all at CRC. So we think of all these people as we join together in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Osei Shalom B'imrama, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, to which we say once again, Amen. Do we have any quick announcements? I know we have one more university series on Tuesday, and then the month of July, there'll be no more university series. We still have Rabbi Randy's class. We have
Right up.
Yeah. I have lost my musical half. Does someone maybe want to plan Osei Shalom for us in Shabbat services? Sorry, I didn't mean to put someone on the spot.
We end with a dog alone.
Perfect. Even better. And then we'll offer a blessing.
Mary?
Dun olam asher malach terem kol yitzir nivra beit nasa bechepzo kol hazay melech shemo nikra Shemu Nikra ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא יהיה ותפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להמשיך לו להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא אחוז עם ישראל ועם ישראל והוא אלי וחי גואלי וצור חבלי בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום הקרה ביום הקרה בידו אקיד רוחי והייתי שם ויעירה ועם רוחי גבירתי אדוני לי ולא יירא ולא יירא Into your hands I entrust my spirit, the time that I lie down and the time that I rise up, with my spirit, my body too. God is with me, I shall not fear. Biador kidruchi beiti shandiira bimruchi gviati adonali veloira adonali veloira adonali
So we will offer you a blessing. We will put our hands out. I know I speak on behalf of all of us when I say we're sending you so much blessing and love virtually. So Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God watch over you and bless you and keep you healthy and safe. I'm passing to Rabbi Randy.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. Ray, you are a blessing. You are one of our sources of light and enlightenment and holiness. And we are so grateful. May that light surround us all with love. Rabbi Susan. And Harry.
And Harry. Yisadonai panav elecha ve'yasev lecha shalom. For gratitude for the peace that this Shabbat has brought us. May we bring it into all of the places, all of the spaces that we touch, with gratitude to Ray for giving us a little more shalom, wholeness with his teaching and his presence, sharing his simcha with us. There is more peace in our hearts, our homes, our community for sure. And may that spread to all creation as we say, Amen and Shabbat Shalom.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. We love you, Ray.
See you in a second, Ray. Great job.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.